Hello, beautiful. I'm so glad to have you for today, the last day of the Emergency Medical Folder Challenge. This week, we have been building our emergency medical folders using the templates that I gave you for free as a download. And we've been taking small bite-sized steps each day. So that way, it did not take us a whole lot of time, right? Hopefully, you've gotten a whole lot done with your emergency medical folder between this week and over the weekend. I know that I've heard such great stories and all the successes from you. So, as you hop on today's last live of the challenge, tell me who you are and where you're joining me from. Today, our focus is on any last questions that you might have. So this is your chance to ask questions and I'll answer them. I'll also answer any questions that have come in from the email that I've not gotten around to responding to. So you'll get a live question and answer for that. Also, I will share some tips and kind of that last wrap up of how to make your folder awesome. So just a reminder, the challenge is from the 9th through the 15th of 2023. So if you're watching this a few days afterwards, that is okay. You can still catch up with us on the challenge schedule page. You have everything that you may have possibly missed. So all of the replays of the videos, tasks, downloads, links, anything that you might have missed is on that challenge schedule page. So make sure to check out the challenge schedule page because it will be available until January 19th. And then after that, it's gone until the next time we do this challenge towards the end of the year. So really quickly, let's hop over to the chat area and see who's here before we get started. Hi, CJ. CJ's here from rainy North Carolina. Welcome, Lori. She says that she made some progress this week on her emergency medical folder for her info. She put healthcare power of attorneys in the pocket sleeve, and she'll work on getting her prescription scripts updated and see what's left. You are so close to being done. That's awesome. CJ says, we're just about to float away, but the rain beats fire and drought any day. By the way, loved your group hike yesterday. Very productive. Oh, I had so much fun with you guys there. And it was so nice to see your face, CJ. That was wonderful. So if you did not make it to the group hike, then hopefully you can catch next time we do this challenge. I'll try to see if I can do another public group hike for you, but they're so much fun. That's something that normally our Path members do about 4 times or more a month. Lori says, have you been affected by the torrential rains in California? She's asking CJ. Mary says, good afternoon from New York. And we see that Sharon's here and Candy and Sandy. Cheryl, she says, thank you for doing this. You're so welcome, Cheryl. And she enjoyed the group hike yesterday as well. It was so much fun. We had so many people and we just had a blast. Trish is here. Hi. And Jerry and Suzanne says hello from cold but sunny Brooklyn. Yeah, it's actually finally cold today in Orlando. I mean, for us cold, it's 58 degrees is a high, but it was, frost level when we woke up this morning. That was nice. Trisha says, I hope I can join the next group hike. I hope so too. I think you would absolutely love it. It's so much fun. All right. So like I mentioned, today we are talking about answering any questions that you might have. So if you have any questions about your emergency medical folder or about the Spark Lifebinder, because remember the Spark Lifebinder is only available until the 19th, and then it will not be available again until the end of the year. And when it comes back, it's going to be at a much higher price. So if you're thinking about grabbing the Spark Lifebinder for all the rest of your important information, then if you have any questions about that, today is the day to ask. You can also ask questions about the Important Papers Workshop. So the Important Papers Workshop, remember that is happening next week. There's 2 sessions. If you've not already registered on the 17th and the 18th, if you can't make it live, that's okay. But the Important Papers Workshop, I will explain how you can build your own Important Papers binder if you want to do it from scratch. Or it's also really helpful if you're not sure if you want to grab the Spark Life binder, you want to learn more, you want to learn how to use it and keep it safe. The Important Papers Workshop is a great place for all of that. So whether you're considering getting the binder or if you want to build your own. So hopefully you can join me for that as well. Like I said, only 2 sessions until the end of the year. So grab them now while you can. They actually fill up pretty fast. So that's what we're talking about today. All right, really quick in the comments, and then we will hop right in because I know there's a lot to cover. So if you have any questions, remember, the chat is your friend. Ask it in the chat. I will try to get all of your answers for you. Janice is here. She says, working on it. I've learned a lot. I'm so glad, Janice. It's been nice having you with us. Corrine is here, and Connie and Joanne. She says, this week has been very informative. Oh, good. Terry says, thank you so much. Signed up for the section, and she has the Lifebinder. Yay! Woo, woo. You are so ready to succeed. I love that. Well, if you have the Lifebinder and everything, then you already know how to reach me at my email, and I'm always here for you. Okay, so let's dive in. First off, one of the things that I always like to make sure to go over before we wrap up the entire emergency medical folder challenge is how to make sure that your emergency medical folder is always accurate. So I just wanted to share a couple of quick tips. Sorry if I'm kind of sniffly. The allergies are really bad today here in Florida. We get allergies, awful. So my medicine hasn't kicked in. All right, so in order to make sure it's always accurate, it's good to set a reminder, maybe on your calendar every 6 months or so, depending on how often your emergency medical information changes, just to go through and eyeball it and see if anything needs to be updated. I know a lot of times people will even use this challenge to use this as a chance and a reminder to update it. So set a reminder, though, for a couple times a year just to eyeball it and make sure nothing's changed. Also, when any new information comes in, the nice thing is usually I bring this to the doctor's office with me. So for appointments, then you can just tuck the information or the papers, the notes that you wrote into the pocket and then update it whenever you can. So that way it gets updated as new information comes in or changes are made. I already mentioned that I love, with my prescriptions, I actually put them in the pocket and I use the little printouts from the pharmacy because they have so much more information than if I were just to make a list. So whenever you do put a new one in, if you're going to use that method, just eyeball to make sure that there aren't any in there that are no longer accurate, and just take those out and make sure that all the new ones are in there. And what I like to do is I usually do my updates. I handwrite them in, even if I've got it typed up all nice and pretty. I printed it out. For updates, I will go ahead and I will use like a friction pen or a pencil to update the information in it. The friction pen, they're my favorite pens, but those are the erasable pens. You can find them when you look on the challenge schedule page. You can find them in my favorite things store for the supplies. I'll put that on the screen so you can see the challenge schedule page the whole time. But the friction pens are erasable pens. They work really well. They're not like the old ones that got ink all over your hands from writing, or just use a pencil. But that way you can erase it. You can add more information. And when it starts to get messy, that's when you can pop in, type in the updates and reprint it. But at least getting that new information in there, even if it's handwritten, is really, really helpful. All right. So that's just a couple of quick tips for keeping it up to date. So in the comments, I'm always curious to know, let me know, do you prefer using paper or are you more of a digital person or are you both? I know for me, I'm both. I like to, if it's active and I'm still working on it and processing it in my brain, I like to use paper, but for storage, I like to use digital as much as possible so I don't have to store the paper. So I'm both, but I'd love to hear what you are. I see that somebody on Facebook is both. Terry's paper, but she wants to try digital. Perfect. Yeah, dipping your toe in and just trying it out is really good. Trisha says, then it can be added to the Spark Lifebinder. Oh, I see it. I missed some things from up higher. That's why I did not understand it. Let's see what I missed in here. Okay, so Corrine asked, with the important papers workshop, is each session different? And no, it's not. Same session, just at different times. So whichever one works into your schedule better, you're all set. But no need to sign up for both of them. So hey, Leslie, good to see you. Oh, Vicky's here. She says that her Spark Lifebinder arrived yesterday. Oh, great. Vicky, tell me in the comments how you feel about it. When you opened it, did you feel like it was good quality? Were you happy with it? I always like to know. And if you're ever not happy with something, just please shoot me an email at hello@suzannakaye.com. I always want you like 1,000% happy, if that was even a thing. Lori says she puts quarterly reminders on her phone calendar to review her emergency medical folder. Good, good. That's awesome. BT's here. She's just getting on from Memphis. Yes. And then Trisha says, then it can be added to the Spark Lifebinder. That makes a lot more sense now when I'm reading everything. Sandy says that she's both digital and paper. So is Mary. Trisha's paper first, then digital. Janice is both. We have a lot of both. I love it. CJ says that she created an emergency medical folder updates folder in her iPhone notes app and then set a reminder to review it every quarter. I like that. Yeah. And I remember that you have a lot that goes on. So you have a lot of things to review. Awesome. So it says she's both digital and paper, but she loves beautiful paper. I do too. I'm an office supply junkie and school supply junkie. So I always have to rein myself in on those things. Joanne says paper, but she would like to learn digital. Vicky is both paper for notes and digital for printing copies and info for the kids. Oh, good. Terry's going to catch the replay of the group hike. Lori says all of her EMF is currently digital and she handwrites any updates. BT is a paper person, but then she'll transfer everything to digital to make it pretty and easier to update. I love that. That's a good way to do it too, because then you at least get it done by writing it out and getting it on paper. So whatever gets it done the fastest. And then you could go back and make it pretty, because done is the most important thing, right? Done is better than perfect. And then you can always go back if you still have time. That's awesome. So once you've done all this work with your emergency medical folder, though, then you want to make sure to keep a backup of it. The same is true for your Spark Lifebinder, right? If you're going to put all of this work into something, then you want to make sure to back it up. So this is why having the digital form is so helpful in addition to the printed one. So for the emergency medical folder or the Spark Lifebinder, it's nice to have, if you're a paper person or if you work better, if you're both and work better with the paper version to get started and get it done faster, then that is fantastic. And having your emergency medical folder in a paper form is essential in order to be able to grab it and go and give it to the hospital workers or the EMTs. So you're going to need a paper version, but having that digital version where you could type the information in, that becomes a great backup. So having that, the digital and the paper form, makes it super easy to do a backup. Then you can keep the USB drive. I like to have two versions of my digital file. The USB drive, I do keep one in the pocket of my emergency medical folder that has sort of my active working copy where I can pop in, type in the updates, print it out from there, and I don't have to try to remember where I saved it. And then I do like to have a backup of that in my cloud service. I use LastPass. It's a password storage software, so it's much more secure than something like your email or Dropbox or Drive. But I like to have that extra copy there. So that way, if I lost my emergency medical folder with the USB drive, I did not lose my only backup also. So make sure that if you've got a digital backup, your only digital backup is not along with your printed version. Because if you lose one, you lose them both. And then if you're only doing print, if you don't want to use the digital at all, that's absolutely okay. Just every once in a while, make a photocopy of your emergency medical folder. And if you have an important papers binder, photocopy that as well. And then keep that photocopy in somewhere like a safe deposit box or a fireproof safe, somewhere that is either secure from fire and floods and things like that, or keep it in a separate location, somebody else's house in a different town, whatever that is. But just photocopy it once in a while, and that can be a backup for you. All right, in the comments, I wanted to read, Denise says, I'm a paper person. She has to have her hands on it or she forgets about it. I can understand that one for sure. Trisha asked if they could see a replay of the group hike. If you registered for the group hike, then I sent out a replay. If you did not register, then we don't have a replay available to the public. So it's just important to make sure to register for these things. That way you can get access to the replay if you miss them. So hopefully you registered. Somebody says, if I get only the print version now, can I get the digital at the end of the year? I don't know how to do the digital. You can always add on the other version whenever it's available again. I don't know what the pricing will be for adding on the digital. A lot of times, if you own one version, we will often offer adding on the other version at a discount before the actual public launch happens. I can't promise that. Most likely that's what we will do. So if you do get the print now, then you absolutely can add on the digital later, but I don't know if it'll be at a higher price or not yet. we've not gotten to that part of the planning of the year. We just figured out the pricing point for the package so far. So hopefully that answers your question, and it's a great question. Hey, Mary, she says she's a few minutes late. That's okay. Denise says, how long are the videos available after today? I've been crazy busy this week. They are available, I can guarantee, until Thursday. They might stay up a little bit longer. It all depends on when myself and my team get through wrapping everything up, but I can guarantee only through Thursday because they should be coming down on Thursday. Leslie asks, is the Spark Lifebinder included in the Paper Path program? It's not. They're two separate things. So with the Spark Lifebinder and the Paper Path, let me just kind of show you really quickly what the differences are and like just kind of go through what that is. Let me see if I can take that off the screen. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong spot. There we go. Okay, so the Spark Lifebinder itself, that is just a tool. So it is basically a piece of equipment. It is a binder that will help you organize all of your information. Yes, I do have some extra help, videos and things like that to help you out if you get stuck, but primarily it is a physical product or a standalone digital product. Now, the Paper Path course, that is a training. So that is an educational product that teaches you one step at a time how to organize all of the different papers in your life. So we talk about incoming papers, organizing your file cabinet and getting that set up, special papers, how to sort through a lot of older papers. If you have piles and boxes of papers, how to quickly sort through those and make that not so bad. So that's teaching you how to organize your papers into a system. One part of that system would be your important papers. So within the Paper Path course, I teach you, within the important papers section, I teach you either you can build your own from scratch, or you could purchase the Spark Lifebinder to make that section of the course easier. That's up to you. But it does not come with the Paper Path course. And then the other thing that I have people ask about all the time, well, what about the Path membership? Is it part of the membership? The membership is just support. So that's the community. We get together and we work together. That's resources like live office hours with me where you can hop on Zoom and ask a question and get an answer live, extra downloads, things to help you reach your goals and complete your Spark Lifebinder and your Paper Path course or whatever you're trying to work on completing. So that's just that support system. So those are three different products. None of them are combined in any package, but they do all work together. So I hope that answers your question. But that was a good one. Connie says, do you need to be specific about where the laundry room is when saying that is where the fuse box is? You don't have to get super specific, but sometimes it would help if you say, like the basement laundry room or the laundry room upstairs. Once they know what level of your house it's in or the general area, laundry room in the back of the house. If you could tell them the general area that it's at, it's going to be easy for them to find, but you don't have to give it super, super specific. No. Karen says, I'm creating an emergency medical folder for my mom. Awesome. And I'm wondering where I should document that she was hospitalized for vertigo in 2021 and that she takes a handful of vitamins. So within the emergency medical folder, on that page of, let me pull it up. So you could, depending on how much she's still affected by the vertigo and how much that could become a problem again, on that first page with the medical alert, the life-threatening allergies and information, there's a space for other. So there's conditions and special needs. You could put it there if it's something that's still affecting her a lot that they would need to know about, or you could put it in the other and just list it as details if you'd like to. Other than that, you could put it under, if it's something that's just kind of an FYI, but not something that they would absolutely need to know about immediately, you could put it under the other and more important information with the emergency instructions or with, you see, allergies and conditions. If it's an existing condition, these don't just have to be allergies. You could list an existing condition such as vertigo. So those are some places that you can put that. You could put the medication and prescription. You could also include vitamins in that area. So instead of a medication or prescription, if she's not filling up that area, then you could list, she takes fish oil with vitamin D. And then she takes, how many milligrams, if it was recommended by a doctor, list in the notes, anything like that, if you want to. There's also this notes area. So if there's anything that you're not sure where you can put the information or it does not fit somewhere else, feel free to use this notes page for absolutely anything. And you can add extra notes pages if you would like to. If you need more space, add more notes pages. So you can absolutely do it however works for you, but there are several options, and pick whichever option makes the sense to your brain, because we all think a little bit differently. So whatever is going to be easiest for you to remember and make sense for you is what's going to be best. Yeah. Joe says hello, everyone. Hi, Joe. Sandy says, I worked on our EMF yesterday and I'm close to finishing. Yay! Woot, 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 woot. She says, I have one question. Is it really wise to record the alarm system pin and code clue there? That's info someone could use to enter our home. That's up to you and how comfortable you are having that in there. I figure if somebody's already broken into my home and grabbed that folder, they aren't too worried about the alarm code at that point. So for the most part, I feel like if the wrong person is getting their hands on it, that's because they broke into my home, and that's a non-issue anyway. But if you are worried about bringing it to the hospital with you and it getting separated with you, then feel free, just instead of listing the alarm code and PIN number, you could just list contact Nancy for this information, and Nancy's phone number, or whoever would have that information in case it was needed. Someone says, do Pathfinders get a better price or a discount on, I'm guessing, the Spark Lifebinder? Not on the Spark Lifebinder. Now, my Path members do get a discount on all of our webinars. They get a discount on any virtual organizing sessions with me. And occasionally we do have some other events that will come up that they will get a discount, or they will get a free invite. Sometimes there's an event where it's not a high-priced event, but other people have to pay, and Pathfinders get invited for free. But with the main products, the Spark Life Binder, the Paid Per Path course, and the upcoming Caregivers Binder, there's no discount for Pathfinders on those right now. Great question. Leslie says, do the dividers that you show in your folder have pockets? So the ones in my sample folder don't on these, but I do have, I think in my supplies list on the challenge schedule page where there's the link to the supplies, I believe I was able to find these dividers again and list them in the supplies. I like these a lot. They are the folders and dividers, and that's always my preference. The problem is we've had to take those on and off the list so many times because they're not always available. So if we've seen lately that they are available, then when you go to the challenge schedule page and you check out my supplies in the My Favorite Things link, then if we have recently seen that they're available again, then it's in that list of supplies and where we found them on Amazon usually. But the ones in my sample one do not have that, simply because they're so often out of stock, and I don't want people to get excited and then feel bad that they can't find them. So great question there. You guys have had some amazing questions. I've loved them. Keep it up. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask me. There are also some other questions that I've received via email that I would love to be able to share with people because I thought that they were very helpful. So one of the questions was, they missed a lot of information. I'm not sure where to look for each day's information, right? So the topics that we covered this week on the videos, these are the different videos and sort of the overview of what we talked about. So if there's something that you missed or that you want to review again, make note of which day's video it was, and then go to the challenge schedule page. So that way you can see that video again before it comes down. All right. And there's the challenge schedule page for you. Okay. So on Monday, we talked about how the emergency medical folder is used, what you would use it for, and what supplies you'll need. Also on the challenge schedule page, I posted a bonus video, a pre-recorded video with tech support. So it shows you step by step how to download the worksheets, how to save them, how to type into them and use them, how to print them, how to save them if you have multiple family members and you wanted to save digital copies for each. So that's also where that tech support video is if you're not very strong with technology and not sure how to use the worksheets. All right. Tuesday, I talked about what to include in your emergency medical folder and what not to include to make sure that you stay safe. I also told you how those free worksheets can make it so much easier to keep on track of all of it. On Wednesday, I talked about how to assemble the emergency medical folder, and I gave you some tricks on how to break down the job of filling it into tiny bite-sized steps. So this works for the emergency medical folder or the Spark Lifebinder. If you bought the Spark Lifebinder, then you might want to review the Wednesday video and remember, okay, this is how, like 5 minutes a day or 15 minutes a week, you can fill in your Spark Lifebinder without making it a huge project, because none of us really have time to just sit down for hours and do a big project. That would be intimidating. But if you grab the Spark Lifebinder, you can chip away at it. You don't have to have a ton of time in order for that to become useful. Thursday's video, I love this. This is always my favorite topic. I shared tricks and tools to make your folder even more awesome. So I shared various other things that I add into my folder, what types of things I add into the pockets. I shared about how I update the prescription information within my folder. And I showed you a bit about how to organize the rest of your important papers and information into an important information or important papers binder. Then Friday, we talked about safety and storage. We talked about where to store your emergency medical folder. So that way EMTs and first responders can easily access it and find it. I shared the freezer sign free download with you. If you did not get to download that, that's on the challenge schedule page under Friday. And I talked about if you are building or if you bought an important papers binder, how to keep that safe, because it's two very different ways of storing things, right? So it's all about safety. And then there's today, live Q&A section and how to do that for the rest of your important papers. And where I did you the quick how to back it up and how to keep it maintained. So if you are looking for specific information, those are some of the videos that you might want to check out if there's something that you might not be strong with. All right. On Facebook, somebody said, if I need additional help understanding, is there a phone number or website I can go to? I'm assuming you mean for the Spark Lifebinder. And for the Spark Lifebinder, yes, absolutely. So there are a couple of options for the Spark Lifebinder. For one, if you have a couple questions and you're just not sure, you can go to hello@SuzannaKaye.com. Email me at hello@SuzannaKaye.com. And if you have just a couple questions, we will gladly be able to answer those over email for you. If you just wanted a quick question and the community can probably answer, in our Facebook group, many of our members also own the Spark Lifebinder. So you can also just post in our Facebook group, the Home Organizing Challenges group. And a lot of times you'll get some answers there pretty quickly too. So those are two general options for getting help. If you needed something that's more in-depth that would not be appropriate for asking it publicly, then you could also call us. On our website, we do have our phone number. I believe it's at the bottom of the website, but we do have our phone number, and Stephanie is the one that monitors that phone number and would be able to call you back and see if she can help you out and explain things. Sometimes if you have something more in depth, then I'll shoot like a quick video for you as an answer to do a walkthrough. But if you do feel like you need even more support than just the occasional question or answer, and you want a safety net, you want additional help, resources, tips, group hikes, office hours, things like that, in order to have more consistent help, then the Path membership, that Path membership is for you. That is where 4 times a month, we have the group hike where you can always ask questions live during the group hike and work side by side with us. It's a great way to chip away at entering your Spark Lifebinder information. 2 times a month, I have office hours, which is where I hop on live and you can hop on, ask a question, get a live answer. And the whole point of the Path membership is that you have more access to me. So if you have a question, then I am able to reply a lot better to my members because I do keep it a smaller group. I don't have a million members. So that way I can make sure that Stephanie and I are much more able to answer very quickly and give you more in-depth answers. So there are a number of ways that are helpful. Also, if you get this digital Spark Lifebinder, there's an online library with some FAQ videos too. So there are so many different ways to get help depending on what you need and what works best for you. Great question. Sandy says, have you considered adding a place for pharmacy details? I have not considered adding a place for pharmacy details, simply, at least not in the emergency medical folder, simply because that's not something that the hospital and the first responders would need to know as much. You would probably, by the time it gets to pharmacy details, you're being, like, what is it? Not admitted, but let out of the hospital. So by then the emergency is over, right? If you're getting a prescription, and then you can tell them what pharmacy you prefer. So I focused on what they would need for your immediate care and to provide you that care quickly. That's for the emergency medical folder. Now, having your pharmacy details in the Spark Lifebinder definitely makes sense. That being said, if you are using the pharmacy inserts, or if you request a printout of your prescriptions from the pharmacy to use that within your each person's section, it already has the pharmacy details right there. So by default, you would have the pharmacy details there if you're using that method. But feel free, if you do want to include the pharmacy details, you absolutely can. That's why there's that whole notes page, and there's some other notes sections within there to personalize it and make it your own, whatever you prefer. So love that question though. Really good question. Okay. Another question that I had throughout the challenge was, I'm not good with technology. Can I just print the worksheets and write in them? And that was actually a question about the Spark Lifebinder. They weren't sure if there was a print version available. They thought there was only digital. And they were wondering, with the emergency medical folder and Spark Lifebinder digital, do you have to enter it in the digital, or can you just print it out and handwrite? And you absolutely can print them out and just handwrite it. You don't have to type into the digital version if that's just not your thing. And like I mentioned, that's what I do for my first draft. I did that for my emergency medical folder, and 12 years ago, when I did my first version, over 12 years ago, when I did the first version of the Spark Lifebinder, it was only digital. And it was only digital for the first about 11 years of the Spark Lifebinder. So the only choice was, with digital, you print it out, you could handwrite it, or you could type it into the PDF. Now, as of last year, we do have the option to have it printed for you and mailed to you already assembled with all the dividers and with the different sections for each person in your home and everything. So it's much easier if you are just a paper person and don't want the digital. But yes, you can. If you're not sure how to do that, if you're not sure how to take that digital worksheet and just hit print, then in the day 1 section of the challenge schedule page, I have that tech help video, and I show you how to just hit print on it so you can print it out and handwrite in it. And I also had the question, what's included with the Spark Lifebinder? So like I mentioned with the Spark Lifebinder, it is pretty much just a tool, and it's just a product. You can get either digital or print or both. And what's included when you purchase it, you can purchase, you can either purchase the digital or the print, or you could get, for a discount, the combination of the two. Why would you want both print and digital? Well, for one, if it's printed and mailed to you, you're much more likely to get started filling it in quickly versus it being digital and out of sight, out of mind, something you have to go to your computer to update. So I do find that people with the print version, they fill it in faster. They make much more progress faster with the print version. That does not mean that that's for everybody though, but that's just in general what I find. So the print version is great, but the problem with only having a print version is if one of the pages gets really messy, then you can't reprint it. And if there are updates, then you don't have access to the updates. So the digital version allows you not only to have the digital version that you can fill in and keep as a backup and have typed up instead of handwriting, but you always get the most recent updates of the core binder We update usually at most once a year. And sometimes they're major updates, sometimes they're minor, but we always tell you, and if you have digital, you always have the most updated version available. And if a page gets messy, you can just reprint it. So you don't have to worry about it, like the wear and tear of your binder. So that's why you'd want both. Now, what comes with the Spark Lifebinder, if you do grab the print version, then you will get, let me move that real quick. You'll get the printed binder. It looks exactly like this. So it has the full binder already assembled for you when it arrives. It even has an extra binder spine if you wanted to do what we talked about, hide it in plain sight and mislabel it, like knitting patterns or favorite recipes. So you even have that. It has the basic information about how to get started. It has a nice cover page. It has a checklist of all of the different things that you want to make sure to gather for each section, so you can kind of keep track of what you're still missing. And I call it the master checklist. So this master checklist helps you keep track of your progress through the binder. It has a table of contents, so you know what's in each section. And then each section has a nice colored divider. And within each section, when you order it, I ask how many adults and how many children or dependents you have in your home. And that helps us know how many dividers and sections we need to have for you in each of these different main sections. So it'll already be put together with the dividers for the adults, the children. You'll already have, I think, 10 or 20 different pages of pet information. I think it's 20. So that way, not only do you have information for every pet that you have, but if you have more pets in the future, you have those pages as well. And it's got all 10 sections with all the different dividers. And then in the back, it has one of the business card holders, the business card sleeves, and one of the 3-ring pockets within the Spark Lifebinder itself. And then it will also come with an emergency medical folder. It will have, it won't say sample, but it'll have an emergency medical folder label on the front, be the nice plastic folder that I recommend. And then within it, it will be set up with 1 divider per person in your home. And then in the back, it will have 1 pocket folder and 1 business card holder. So that will come with it as well. And if you've already built your emergency medical folder, you can always give yours as a gift, the one that comes with your Spark Lifebinder, as a gift to somebody else if you'd like. So that's just if you've already built yours during the challenge. And if you did, then you're already 1 step ahead of most people who order the Spark Lifebinder. So that's what's included. Plus, we do have right now, we've got some bonuses. If you grab your Spark Lifebinder before 1 p.m. Eastern time on the 17th, which is when that first webinar starts. If you grab it before then you will get an invite to the special Spark Lifebinder group hike sessions. So those would have our Path members and our Spark Lifebinder bonus owners. It's approximately every 2 months. You will get the Ultimate Papers Workshop, which is the 1-hour video training on how to set up the rest of your papers. It's kind of an overview of your paper system and how to make decisions on your filing cabinet, on things to shred versus recycle, things like that. And then you will also get the Grab and Go Emergency Checklist Pack that you can print out and put with your emergency medical folder. So that way, if you have to evacuate, you have a really quick reference of all the different things that you need to grab, so you don't forget something like your prescription medications or your family photos. And it's a really good checklist pack with a couple different options of the various evacuation scenarios. So hopefully that answers all of your questions. If you already purchased the Spark Lifebinder before the Tuesday deadline, so between the 1st of this year and before Tuesday's deadline, then you get all those bonuses automatically. By Tuesday, you will have gotten an email if you've not already. I believe as soon as you get it, you should have gotten an email, but with all of those. So if you ever grab the Spark Lifebinder before the bonus deadline and you don't see it, then shoot me an email at hello@suzannakaye.com because you should have gotten it. So that is a good question that I got that I wanted to make sure to answer. Okay, Peg said for Sandy asking about the pharmacy details, she says, Sandy, I like the idea of adding pharmacy details since I carry the EMF with me to medical and dental appointments. Yeah, absolutely. So if that's something that you would use, definitely put that in there in the notes section or anywhere that makes sense to you. Okay. Trisha says, those of us who already have the Spark Lifebinder, do we get any updates this year? If you own the digital version of the Spark Lifebinder, then you will automatically get the updates whenever it's updated. We've not updated it this year. And I think last year, our last update, I believe, was the beginning of last year. We always send out an email letting you know that the update is in your online library. And in your online library, you can log in anytime to see if you have the most recent version, if you missed the email, or if you're not sure. So right now, if you look on the bottom of any of your pages of your Spark Lifebinder, you can see a version number. So our current version number is V7. So at the bottom of your sheets, say V7, then you got the most current update. If they don't, hop into your online library because it's right there for you, and I detail what changed. I give you what pages you can print out to just add in so you don't have to print out and redo the whole thing. And I make it super easy for you. Leslie says, it's also good to have a print version in case there's a power outage. Yes, actually, that is so important. And that's why I have the print version of my Spark Lifebinder as well, instead of just having it digitally, because if there's an emergency and I have to evacuate, then I want that information at my fingertips. I want to be able to know what my insurance policies are. I want to know what all of my digital passwords and everything are, because if I don't have access, maybe the cell phone towers are down or something like that, then it's not very helpful for me to have only the digital version. So I highly encourage you, if you do have a digital version of something, that's really good, and I highly recommend it as a good backup and a workable copy, but also make sure to have a print version somewhere. Yes, so thank you, Leslie. I agree. Oh, so Candy says, I tried to purchase the Spark Lifebinder last night and couldn't complete the order. I'm not sure what happened with that. I can absolutely help you though. Shoot me an email at hello@suzannakaye.com and we'll make sure that we can help you finish that order and make sure that you get all of your bonuses, because I want to make sure that it's easy for you, Candy. Ruth says, sorry I'm late. I just downloaded the new version of the Spark Lifebinder. Hers was version 5.1. Oh, wonderful. So you've been with us for a little bit. I love that. Yes, if you have any questions with that new version, let me know. From version 5.1, yeah, version 7 is a big update between the two of them. So we did a big, massive overhaul of a lot of the different sections, reorganized some stuff, but mostly added a whole lot more information for you. So I hope that you like this new version. That's wonderful. Lori says, if we have the digital version of the EMF and or Spark Lifebinder, can we make copies for family and friends? So my general suggestion, I mean, I know I cannot stop you from making copies for people, and I appreciate you asking. Generally, I say if you purchased the Spark Lifebinder, I don't mind if you use it for immediate family as well. So if you have, aging parents, I'm okay if you don't buy separate versions of the Spark Lifebinder for like your parents or your children. I would prefer that you don't make copies for, your aunts and uncles and cousins and everything like that. I can't stop you, but it would be nice if each family unit were to at least purchase one and share it together. But yeah, that is the official restriction, but I'm not going to be going to your family members and asking. So yeah, if you have the digital version of the emergency medical folder though, I am absolutely fine with you sharing that with anyone and everybody. Okay, so the emergency medical folder, those worksheets that I gave you for free with the challenge, I just think that's such an important thing for people to have. Then yes, share it with everybody. Post, please also include, that you got it from me if you post, but post it on your social media if you'd like. Share it with your church and put them on USB drives and hand them out to your church people, whatever. But yes, share that digital version of the emergency medical folder as much as you would like to. I just say, it's nice if you say where you got it from and don't change any of the ownership information, who it's by. Okay, Trisha says, yes, I own both. Yeah, then you absolutely have the updates right in your online library. And if you can't figure it out how to get it, sorry, pointing the wrong way, email me at hello@suzannakaye.com and I can always help. Okay, Denise says, I'm trying to pull up the exact page you got at the top of the live on my laptop, but it won't come up. Maybe try in the video description. I also have the link. Try maybe clicking on the link that's in the video description and see if that takes you there. Sometimes if you get just one letter or one dot wrong, then it won't take you there. And if you still have problems, then shoot me an email at hello@suzannakay.com and we can make sure to help you get there. Absolutely. Yeah. So you need to type the website, Lori says, in your web browser. You can't copy it from the live session and then paste it. Okay. See, I did not even know that. So you might have to either click on the video if it will let you in the description or actually type it out. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so I had a couple more questions. Any other questions that you have, please feel free in the chat area. Feel free to list them there. One person asked me the other day, I don't have time for a big project like the Spark Lifebinder. She said that she was a caregiver, which I've worked with so many caregivers, and I know you are the hardest working people on earth, and you do not have time. So I encourage you to, if you have time, to at least listen. I have the podcast. Remember, the podcast is available of all of these live sessions as well. If you go to my podcast page. So if you can't sit and watch the video, then at least listen to the video from Wednesday, where I talk about breaking it down into small pieces. But with something like the Spark Lifebinder, if you are really busy, or if you just don't want to add one more big project to your life, which I understand, don't think about it as having to have a deadline and rushing to finish it. Because remember, with the emergency medical folder and the Spark Lifebinder, every line that you fill out, every blank on the worksheet that you fill out makes it that much more useful. So even if it's not complete, then it is still useful. So don't worry about finishing. Don't worry about a deadline. But what you can do is whenever you have a chance, maybe every night as you're watching your TV show before bed, just pick one blank and fill it in. Some nights that's going to take you less than a minute. Some nights that might take you a couple minutes to actually go and find the paper to fill it in. But if you do one blank every night, then that's not going to be a huge project and a huge pressure and stress. It's going to make it more useful every day, and you can fit that into your schedule. So I recommend not making it a huge project. If you are one of our path members, though, then hop on those group hikes if you're available for those, and then you can at least use one of those sprints to do, some of your Spark Lifebinder. Do a 20-minute chunk of time on your Spark Lifebinder while we do one of the sprints, and then the other sprints you can do laundry, vacuum, prep dinner, whatever you need to do. And then I also had, this goes along with it, what if I get stuck or lose motivation and don't finish my Spark Lifebinder or my emergency medical folder? Same thing. Break it down in those super tiny small chunks, because a lot of times we get stuck or lose motivation because it feels like such a huge project, right? We feel pressure. And that is what the Path membership is for. So if you are getting stuck, sorry, let me let the dog out. Here we go. She's very needy. That's the hard part about working from home. If you are getting stuck on any of your projects, if you feel like you run out of motivation, if you just want something where there's extra resources, encouragement, the ability to get questions answered, then check out the Path membership in the store on SuzannaKay.com, because that's exactly what that's for. All right. And tell me in the comments really quickly. I'm going to answer a few more of the questions that are in the comments, but tell me in the comments, are you a Path member? I know that I saw several of our Path members already in the comments today, but let me know, what do you think of the membership? So just tell other people what you think of the membership and how it helps you, because that is definitely the hardest thing for me to describe, exactly what the Path membership can do for people. So let other people know what your experience is and what you think about it. Okay, Oh, Lori says, how she asked about if she can share it with family and friends. It's only fair for you to receive the purchase price for the products for anyone we'd like to have it. I was just asking in case others on this session had that question. Oh, well, thank you, Lori. Yeah, it's a great question. And I've had that question before. And yeah, I don't mind with the very immediate family, though, because as a family unit, I think it's great to make sure that everybody's protected. Peg Owens says, last year, my family and friends got copies of the EMF printed in a binder with pockets for Christmas. Yay! She says this year they all got fire blankets for the kitchen. Next year? Question mark. That's fantastic. I love that. Maybe next year you could do give them the emergency grab and go checklist, and then some of the items in the checklist, make them like a little quick emergency pack. That would be fun, right? They'd pull out random things like local atlas and a little money pouch. That would be cute. But what a great idea for gifts. So useful. Yep, Lori says to Peg, you always have such great gift ideas. Peg is so creative and thoughtful. I love it. Leslie says, thank you for the info on the dividers. I was able to find them on your supply list. Yay, good. I'm glad that they're available right now. She ordered them from Amazon, and now it's showing only one left. Yeah, they come in and out of stock so fast. Ruth says, no, that she's not a PATH member. Well, that is absolutely okay. I'm glad that you're here. If you ever wanted to join, that's available all the time. That does not go away. Oh, Sandy says, I frequently feel overwhelmed, but your advice to break these projects down into small bites is so helpful. Oh, that's wonderful, Sandy. I get overwhelmed very easily as well. And this is something that I had to learn in order to not lose my mind in my life. So I'm glad that it's helpful for you too, because it was life-changing for me. Terry says, I love the membership. She says, I can always watch replays of group hikes if I miss it. Yes, you don't have to be live on the hikes or the office hours. I try to always have the replays. Sally says, I like your programs, but the various membership options are a little confusing. Yeah, that's why I explain them every once in a while. How the Spark Lifebinder is a tool. The Paper Path course, that's the actual learning. It's like your textbook. And then the Path membership, that's just support. So I'm not teaching you new things and things like that. I'm just there to support you and give you that community and answer questions. So hopefully this clarified it a little bit. I'm trying to work on this year. We're redoing the website and some of our information to try to clarify as well. Janice says, is the Paper Path different from the Paper Path course? No, the Paper Path is the Paper Path course. So there's the Paper Path course, and then there's the Path membership. So the Paper Path course is like the textbook that's going to teach you. It has videos and steps on how to organize all of your papers, but there isn't a community. There aren't group hikes or office hours or anything like that. It's a course that you can go through on your own pace and watch the videos and go through the workbook. The Path membership, that's all the support. So that's the community. That's the access to me. So Path membership, because it covers all the paths that we have. And then the Paper Path course is just a course. Lori says, I love being a Path member. It gives me specific times to work on my projects or routine household tasks, laundry, dishes, food prep, going through mail, shredding, filing. And it's great to work with others. Lori does so well though also. I love it. She also loves the positive support and encouragement and tips Suzanna always offers. Oh, thank you. I love it. Cindy says, I'm a Path member and plan to finally finish my SLB this year with your help. Yay! You can do it. You are going to rock that one. Mary says, I've not been to a Path member group hike and I want to. Love those. Yes, the group hikes are so much fun. Sally says that she'll definitely try to run the replays. Maybe she'll get the hang of it. Check out at least one and just see what the deal is with the replay. You can see how it goes and see if it's even your thing. Not everything's going to be your thing. And with the Path membership, it's nice. I have a number of different options available because not everybody likes a hike, but some people love office hours, or some people love the community part, but they don't really want the live help. So there are different things. You don't have to do everything in the membership in order to get your value out of it. Lori says, I also love when members share tips or ask questions in the group hikes and make comments in the chat. Yeah, we've become such a little family unit with a lot of the same people that come all the time. We get to know each other. We chat. I love it. Someone says, don't forget the great music. That sounds like Sherry. Sherry's always saying the great music, but so many people love the music that we play. I do too. Yeah, Lori couldn't attend the group hike yesterday, so she watched it and read the chat replay last night. I'm so glad. That's awesome. All right. So finally, I just wanted to mention somebody had also asked about with the Spark Lifebinder, what is the policy as far as refunds? So if you get the Spark Lifebinder, then I do have a refund policy if it's not for you. So if it's a printed version of the Spark Lifebinder, then minus the shipping costs, I will refund you the full amount if you return it in its original condition. And with the digital version, if you decide that it's not for you, then within, I think it's 60 days, and have to double check. It says the refund policy on, like there's a link on all the checkout pages and on the sales page and everything. But yes, I will refund you the full amount. So it is, there's no risk involved because I will refund you if it's not for you. I just want it to work for you. I don't want you to have something that does not work for you. So you can check out on my website. I do have the refund policy listed. But like I mentioned, with the digital, if it's not for you, then I will refund that amount. With the print, I will refund all but the shipping part. And that there's not a big risk for it. So if in doubt, you can try it out and see if it's something that will even work for you, because that's always my main goal. I just want you to be able to use what I sell or what I share with you. And that's the most important part for me. If it's not useful for you and you're not 100% satisfied, then I want to make it right. And I've always been that way, and I always will be. All right, so in the comments, Facebook user says, it is. That means it's Sherry. I knew it. I know you, girl. Katie says, I would love to get the info on project and household list. Yes, absolutely. Peg says, I'm a Path member. Group hikes are on my iPhone calendar as appointments. They keep me moving forward on my household and paper tasks. I get so much done in 2 hours. I know you rock it. You're like, focus. I love it. Connie says, I'd be interested in hearing the others comment on the end of life sections. Have they all done the info there? And that's a great question. And I actually have some tips for how to complete the end of life section within, when you get the Spark Lifebinder, with the digital version, you have the online library. And one of the things that I share is if the end of life section is stressful for you or one of your loved ones to talk about, there are ways to make it easier. So I have a whole little video and written out section of how to make that easier. And in general, with something that's difficult, whether it's end of life or maybe there's another section that stresses you out and is very difficult for you to think about or talk about, a lot of times I say, try to just every once in a while, and I even recommend this sometimes during sprints and group hikes, I say, open up to that section. It's not a long section. And I try to make sure that things are worded so that way they aren't as stressful. But I say every once in a while, open it up, do one line, just answer one question in that section, and then flip to another section that you enjoy more. Maybe you find that your past medical information is easiest to enter or your financial information. Flip over to a more fun section and then work on it. But if you do that and you just fill in one blank each time you do the Lifebinder, then for one, your mind does not let you get into that dark place because you're not spending a lot of time in that section. So it won't cause as much stress and worry. Feel free to leave some areas blank if they're super stressful for you until you're a little bit more used to it and until you've filled in a lot of the easier ones. Then usually by then, your brain will not be as worried about the ones that used to be so hard. They'll feel a little bit more confident and they'll be easier to fill in. But don't try to just sit down and power through it if it's a difficult section for you. There's no need to do that. Every once in a while, pop in, do one, and walk away or do a different section. Teresa says, thank you so much for offering all this great info and the free emergency medical worksheets to everyone for free. It's all so helpful, especially for those of us who can't afford to buy the tools. You're so welcome. And yes, I know not everybody can afford to buy a Spark Lifebinder to save the time and just get started faster. And these are the things that I believe in so much. The reason, I don't think I've told you guys this, the reason that I even started doing the Spark Lifebinder is years and years ago when I was much younger. My father ended up in the hospital and he ended up with a tracheotomy. So he was on a breathing machine and he could not physically talk, which A, was scary for all of us. But B, there was something that he was dealing with the IRS that was extremely time sensitive, that had a major deadline happening within days. And now he was unable to even speak to communicate with the IRS and help with whatever that situation was. And he was the one that was dealing with it. My mom knew that there was something, but she did not know any of the details of it. She did not know how to handle that. Plus, she was going through the fear of my dad being in the hospital and so seriously ill. So I remember while he was in the hospital, having him, he had to fill out a number of forms. I think they even had to be notarized to give me his power of attorney to then be able to talk to the IRS to figure out what the situation was and help get it resolved. So the fact that my mom did not know all that was going on, the fact that none of those forms were in place to be able to help her out, and she realized how much my dad took care of, that she had no idea. Like, she had no idea if they even had life insurance policies, and if so, where she would find that information and what that information was. He handled everything. And then I, of course, being the daughter, knew absolutely nothing about any of it. So that was a big wake up call for me about the fact that my mom, if something were to happen to him, my mom would not only be dealing with the grief of losing my father, but then she would also not know all of the most important information, and I would not be able to help her easily. And it would be going through all of his papers, and we would not even know how to get into his emails or his computer to find out that information. And it was very scary to think about. So it was at that point over 12 years ago that I decided to put something together for my family and for myself. And at the time, it was just a very basic spreadsheet in Microsoft Excel, and everything that I could think about that we could possibly need to know if somebody else had to take over and had to know the information from within our family. And so I set that up and refined it. And then as I started working with people as an organizer, I realized nobody else had this set up either. And all of these clients, if I mentioned it, they said, "Oh, I would love to have something like that." Or, I worked with so many people who became widows and they were in that same situation that I was afraid of for my mother. And they knew nothing about anything that their partner had known. A lot of times they thought that they knew everything, but so many things are just in our heads, right? So it was at that point that they kept pressuring me. And then I started to create a version that they could use. So for probably about 8 years, I was only using it with my organizing clients, and it was only something that I sold just to them. And as I worked with them, and as I worked with people in so many different life situations, everything from in organizing, I worked with, a huge, massively well-known movie director. I worked with an Olympian. I worked with school teachers. I worked with stay-at-home moms. I worked with so many different walks of life that I was able to see what each of them needed and what other things I might need to be able to include to make a Lifebinder help everybody, be a whole lot more inclusive and not just what my family needed. So it all started with my dad ending up in the hospital and having an issue with the IRS, and grew into something where finally everybody convinced me, this is so important. More people need to know how to organize all this information. And still to this day on the market, you can find these amazing binders that are either really in depth into one part of your life. Like, there's some great, really in-depth financial binders, but they don't cover any of the rest of your life, like medical or end of life or dependence or anything like that, right? They just go in depth in finance. or you find ones that cover everything, but they don't go very in depth. So they cover just a little bit of all the different parts of your life, but there's so much that they were missing. So finally, I realized, okay, this is something that I should offer to everyone, because I truly did believe, and the stories and the feedback that I've gotten from people, that this has been a literal lifesaver for some people, but also it just makes it so much easier on you and your family when you know that everything's in one place and that you can get to the information that you need quickly. You feel like you can handle whatever life throws your way. And that's such a peaceful feeling. That's what allows you to sleep at night, but it also allows you to go on a picnic with your family or go on a vacation with your friends, knowing that whatever happens, you can control it. You don't feel like you need to be at home sorting through your papers to make sure that everybody's protected. And it also means if something were to happen, then as the family grieves, they are not also then burdened with trying to figure out all of this administrative stuff and going through papers. So that's the reason why I created the Spark Lifebinder to begin with. So there you go. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Hopefully it helps you out as much as it has helped out myself and all of the various people that I've heard from. As you know, through the years, I've heard all the feedback. And that's why I offer the Important Papers Workshop, because not everybody can afford to buy the Spark Lifebinder, but I want you to know at least how to build your own, what types of information to put in there, how to think about it, how to structure it, how to keep it safe. So yes, you're so welcome. So welcome. All right, Connie says, I guess what I'm asking is I have planned their funeral plans and etc. If people have planned their funeral plans, etc. I'm sure that there's a mixture of people who have filled it out completely and some who have not. Some people have more specific desires for what happens at the end of their life, and some don't. Like for me, I personally, whatever music you want to play, that's great. Whatever type of memorial you want, that's great. And this way, my loved ones know that those things are not important to me, but I accept whatever they feel that they want to do. Those who maybe have not planned their funeral but want to, then that end of life section can actually help you do it. So that will spark some of the things that, oh yeah, I should think about what my preference is for this. So if you have, specific things that you want, it's great. You probably won't have a hard time filling it out. You probably won't have a hard time filling it out if you're like me and you're like, I don't really mind. These are the few things I mind about. The rest, whatever you want, is fine with me, and communicating that. But if you've not planned out your funeral plans and it's a difficult subject, then it actually will help you have those conversations and make those decisions a lot easier than trying to without any guidance. So, all right, Mary Hunter says, yes, she's a PATH member. Yes, you are. I love it. She needs to take advantage of it since she's not been. I've seen you in a number of things, at least, Mary. So you're doing really good, and it's moving you forward very nicely, I'm sure. Terry says, thanks for sharing your story. I'm grateful for your support. Oh, you're so welcome. I always forget to tell people my why. Why did I even do it? Lori says, Suzanna, you've created such valuable tools. Although I purchased them about 3 to 5 years ago, I'm so grateful how you put these together and easy for us to fill out. Thank you. You're so welcome. CG says, thank you for this challenge. Time for me to do a few sprints to complete my EMF. See you soon for the Important Papers Workshop. And Trisha says, your SLB and tools, videos, and live chats are wonderful. Thank you. Candy says, maybe just me, but I wish there was something written to tell me what all of these 20 plus keys are to. I'm afraid to get rid of any. That's so funny. And I'm sure that's not just you. Absolutely. Sandy says, she suggests you plan it with your family and makes it easier for the survivors. Yeah, exactly. So it is very nice to have it written down. My family knows exactly the things that I do care about, which that's what makes it so much easier for them. They know that as far as flowers, if they want to have flowers at a funeral service for me, that is okay with me. I don't have a preference. I do have a preference for, if they're doing it in lieu of flowers. These are my favorite charities. I do have a preference about, how my body is taken care of. So knowing what I do prefer and knowing what I really don't prefer, and honestly, that's up to them if they want to do it. That also relieves them from, if they don't want to do it, I'm okay if they spend no money on flowers. So it does make them easier. It makes it easier if they know exactly what your thoughts are, for sure. Yeah, Lori is telling Connie, the end of life section is emotionally hard for me to fill out, but once I get a lot of the other sections filled out, I will make those end of life decisions. You're not the only one. I remember with my dad, I had to sit him down, and every once in a while, when we'd get together, I'd ask another question and had to take it piece by piece with him because he did not want to think about it. But it was such a relief as I got more. I'm still working with them on some of them, but as I've gotten more information, it's helped me out a lot. Connie says, thank you for sharing your personal experience. I've lost both of my parents, but I'm number 8 of 13 children. So the other ones took care of all of that. Wow. That's a lot of brothers and sisters. That's wonderful. But yes, you're so welcome. And I'm sorry about the loss of your parents. That's always so hard. Suzanne says, I'm a PATH member and need to be more involved. Be as involved as works for you. And I do find that there are some times where you can be more involved because you have more time, and sometimes where you just mentally need to back off a bit, and that's okay. So do what's working for you and what supports you, and don't worry about anything that is not the right fit for you right that moment, because there are so many different options within the membership. Pick and choose. It's like an a la carte. Choose what works for you. Don't feel guilty about anything that, that month is not for you, or maybe it's never for you, and just use the different parts. Absolutely. Says, thank you for sharing your story. You're so welcome. You're absolutely welcome. All right. Well, that wraps up this last day of the challenge. I've had such a great week with you, beautiful. You are doing amazing work. Amazing work. You inspire me every day. I love how you share your stories and you inspire each other as well and encourage each other. Do remember that if there's anything that you missed during the challenge, check out the challenge schedule page. And it's only available until Thursday. You can also feel free to share this page with other people if you want them to be able to set up their own emergency medical folder. Also, if you want to set up an important papers binder, if you're not sure about if you want to grab the Spark Life binder, or if you want to build your own, or if you're just curious about how to build your own binder, whatever your situation is, if you don't have one already, make sure to sign up for the Important Papers Workshop webinar. It is free. It only happens twice. If you can't make it live, then that is okay. I will have a limited time replay that I will send out afterwards. If you do make it live, I do give you a quick bonus, my How Long to Keep Important Documents guide, but make sure to sign up for that. And even if you do nothing else, just watch it and see what fits into your life and what's important to you with that. If you are interested in the Spark Life Binder, remember, you only have until the 19th to grab it. After the 19th, it goes away until the end of the year. Not only that, but this time when it goes away, it will be significantly more expensive at the end of the year. So if you are considering grabbing the Spark Life Binder, now is your chance to get it. Get it before the 19th. If you get it before the 17th, then you can also get the bonuses. But if nothing else, get it before the 19th. So go to SuzannaKaye.com and go to the store to grab your Spark Life Binder before the price goes up and before it's gone until the end of the year. And then finally, remember, you have got this, beautiful. And I am always here to help you. I love helping you. So here we go. I'm just reading the last bits of the comment. CJ says, I've already purchased the digital versions of the music I love and want for a family gathering or service. Yay! She's adding the music to her Spark Life Binder. Yes, I had one client who had everything completely lined out, and she even put, at the time, this tells you how long ago it was a CD of all of the music to play at her service. And her family actually wrote me a note, a little thank you note after she passed away, because that was back in the day with one-on-one organizing. And they thanked me for helping her set up that binder because it made it so much easier for them, not just the end of life, but everything being in one place. So her kids actually sent me a thank you note after she had passed, thanking me for helping her set that up, but it made it so much easier. So yes, add the music to your Spark Life Binder. That's such a big help. Terry says, get the reminders from Susanna. Yep. Lori says, if for path members, aren't the replays available longer than this week? Not for the challenge. So for the emergency medical folder challenge, that's separate from the path membership. So those replays are not available longer than the week. They will be available in your, I think that they're available in your podcast, but I would have to check on that. So this is one of the few things that is just kind of its own separate entity. But as a path member, I'm sure if you ask me, you say, I didn't get it in time. Can I watch Tuesday again? I can probably figure out a way to get it to you though, because I kind of do jump through hoops for my path members sometimes. Suzanne says, are the bonuses available to those of us who already own the Spark Lifebinder? So as far as those bonuses go, the group hike and the Ultimate Papers Workshop bonuses, if you did not get those when you purchased, because those were available before. So if you did not get those when you purchased, then no, because those were bonuses that were already available. The grab and go checklists, though, yes, those are something that I believe we already sent out the email with those checklists. If you did not get it, because that's a new bonus we just added, if you did not get that email, being an existing Spark Lifebinder, shoot me an email at hello@suzannakaye.com and we can see why you did not receive that email. But whenever I add on a new bonus, then I do try to share it with all the people who purchased the Spark Lifebinder before. But existing bonuses, it just is what you got it at the time. Tricia says, I'm off to put my folder together. See you at the Important Papers Workshop. Woot, woot. Yes, woot, woot, woot. Good job. Loving Life says, I have a public YouTube playlist, songs to play at my funeral. I started it years ago when a friend died very young. Oh, that's fantastic. So yes, in your emergency medical folder, you have to write the URL of that playlist. So that way your family knows too. All right. Well, I love you, beautiful. Keep on taking those little steps because you are making a huge difference. If you missed anything, including this replay, check out the challenge schedule page. And that's where you can find everything through Thursday. And I will see you at the Important Papers Workshop. Go register today. I love you. I love you. Make today amazing. Goodbye now.